Good afternoon. My name is Caleb Fulford, and I am a sophomore writing consultant at the William & Mary Writing Resources Center. I am honored to join you today, albeit virtually, to discuss how to understand multilingual writers' shifting identities and bring humanity back into learning environments structured to marginalize second language literacy. Rich Onibeni, the 2008 New York State Teacher of the Year, described teaching as at its core a very human interaction. It must nourish the mind, but it also must nourish the soul. Intellectual rigor must accompany community building, social justice, and unconditional love. He went on to ask, how do we resist the urge to spend so much time teaching to the test that we exclude love, laughter, art, music, play, and other lessons essential to human development? How do we keep humanity in our profession? Humanizing authoritarian education systems that use error-free English prose as a proxy for success is undoubtedly challenging. Dr. Alona Leckie reminds us that multilingual students differ so much from each other that it is not an exaggeration to say that sometimes the only similarity they share is that they are not native speakers of English. Therefore, humanization cannot take the shape of a standardized approach in which we endeavor to treat all multilingual students uniformly. Many students associate their writing with culture, education, linguistic proficiency, literacy, social backgrounds, identities, and sense of self, all of which vary from student to student. Ben Rayfoth adds that learning to write reflects familial expectations and incorporates sacrifices to attain social mobility, cultural and personal enrichment, and to attend a path out of poverty, isolation, and tedious labor. As a result, tutors are often unaware of the intangible emotional nuances inherent in multilingual writing. Thus, Sanja Foss and Cindy Griffin's 1995 theory of invitational rhetoric. Initially rooted in feminist theory, Foss and Griffin define invitational rhetoric as an invitation to understanding, as a means to create a relationship rooted in equality, value, and self-determination, challenging the standard definition of rhetoric as persuasion. Naf al-Sharif of the Indiana University of Pennsylvania applied invitational rhetoric to writing center pedagogy for the first time in 2017. She observed that invitational rhetoric creates a framework for non-hierarchical, non-judgmental, and non-adversarial interactions. A tutor may convey their viewpoint through invitational rhetoric, but the objective is not to encourage students to adopt the perspective. Instead, the approach promotes multilingual writers embracing their identities and language choices while keeping perception in mind. Al-Sharif's framework for invitational rhetoric consists of 8 elements. 1. Understanding is the purpose of communication in invitational rhetoric. 2. Participants listen with openness. 3. Speaker and audience are equals. 4. Invitational rhetoric involves power with instead of power over. 5. Participants only change when they choose. 6. Participants enter ready and willing to change. 7. Invitational rhetoric creates a world of appreciation for differences. And finally, 8. Invitational rhetoric is one of many options. Invitational rhetoric, therefore, underlines tutors' roles as learners and supports the notion of cooperation, in which the learning dynamic is a bilateral exchange. Here is an example. Jason is a multilingual student from Japan. Though he began learning English in his junior year of high school, Jason is still not confident in his sentence construction. Verbs appear at the end of a sentence in Japanese, rather than after the subject in English. As a result, when speaking and writing in English, Jason must think in a different order than usual. At his writing center appointment, Jason expresses unease about his thesis to a tutor not well versed in invitational rhetoric. Jason says, "My professor wants a clear-cut thesis with a claim. Is this what she is looking for? Jason's tutor, Sean, replies, no. This is not a thesis because you fail to recognize that you must address a topic on which reasonable people might disagree. Here is what you need to do. Here, Sean is not establishing trust nor emphasizing confidence with Jason, but intensifying his feelings of insecurity. The environment is dictatorial, conjuring the authoritarian education system we are here to humanize. Let's try again. Jason says, my professor wants a clear-cut thesis with a claim. Is this what she's looking for? Sean, applying invitational rhetoric, replies, writing a thesis is challenging work, especially in this discipline. When I'm having problems coming up with a claim, I try this. What would happen if we applied this concept to this problem? Here, Sean promotes cooperation and fosters a secure place for Jason to enjoy the uniqueness of his individual experience as a Japanese student, knowing that Sean will respond with respect and care. As per Al-Sharif's framework for invitational rhetoric, Sean is 1. Recognizing the difficulties of developing a thesis statement. 2. Listening with openness. 3. Treating Jason as an equal and refusing to tell him what to do. 4. Entrusting Jason with the task of revising his thesis. 5. Not pressuring Jason to write his thesis in a particular manner. 6. Exhibiting his readiness and willingness to accept Jason's experiences. 7. Creating a world of appreciation. And 8. Willing to use a variety of methods if necessary. Thus, our case with Jason and Sean reinforces Al-Sharif's central premise. The use of tutoring strategies that build upon invitational rhetoric might be beneficial because it helps to create rapport with multilingual writers and thus helps to appreciate their individuality, along with demonstrating respect and elevating trust. Accordingly, the integration of invitational rhetoric to tutoring multilingual writers is a call to adopt and develop tutoring strategies that draw upon effective elements of personal relationships. Invitational rhetoric thus couples a multilingual writer's humanity to their academic advancement, the ultimate objective of any relationship between a tutor and a tutoree. Don't forget, tutoring is for students, not lawmakers, administrators, teachers, or even us tutors. Use invitational rhetoric to humanize multilingual tutoring. Help students lead the lives they dream of, rather than those defined by an essay prompt. Thank you.